Hello, Stuart. Welcome to If Innovation Could Talk.
Thank you, Eva. Hello.
Stuart, from a performing arts perspective, what does innovation mean to you?
Well, innovation, I believe, is the ability to look at a problem and see a challenge. Artists are inherently innovators because we look at the world through a creative lens. We look at things and we see light and sound and colour and immediately go towards a new perspective on how we can approach a challenge and how we can creatively solve that challenge.
When we had a chat earlier, you also talked about the combination of intent, something that's incidental, and the subconscious mind that brings innovation together in your world. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Sure. Well, working in theatre, one of the biggest challenges we have, of course, is funding and cash flow. And that's always has been the case for theatre makers over the centuries. And so when I talked about intent, I was really referring to the idea of necessity being the mother of invention. If you have a challenge in front of you, then a temptation, if you have the resources available to throw a whole heap of money at it, to find a way to solve that challenge, then that can be one approach. But if you don't have that as a resource, as an option, then you need, through the intent, to find other ways of solving those challenges, creative ways of looking at it. You know, when a playwright might script a scene where the ceiling collapses onto the stage, the sky opens up and an angel descends from heaven. As artists, we don't look at that and say, oh my God, we can't do it. It's impossible. How can you make that happen? We look at each other and say, well, how can we do this? What ways can we find to actually make this happen in a really interesting, exciting and engaging and theatrical way?
Tell us also about the time when you produced Dear Heart and the war veteran that went up to you after the performance. I thought that was such a powerful story as well. Very moving.
That's another one that gets me. And in actual fact, I hold on to that because it's something that sustains me as an artist during all of those times when I start to think, can I do this anymore? You know, the challenge of just getting up every day, trying to find resources to do what we want to do, and, you know, the struggle for funding. This is a story that supports me and sustains me through all of those times. It was at a point when in my career, I was actually thinking about giving up. I was very, very close to packing it all in and going and getting a job that was more going to provide me with more financial stability. And we were performing Dear Heart, which is a play based on a true story, letters written by a young wife to her husband, who was a POW in Java in the Second World War. And I was playing a POW prisoner. I'm thinking to myself, I feel like a charlatan. I feel like I'm just making it up. I'm pretending to have, you know, dysentery and being tortured and all of the awful privations that those men suffered. What am I doing here? I don't know nothing about the world. And at the end of the play, this very elderly gentleman shuffled up to me. Again, he was weeping. And he came up to me and his hand was kind of shaking. And he made a beeline for me and had the most incredible intent behind his eyes. We had to pack up and bump out and go and do another show that afternoon, so I didn't have time. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll talk to you. Anyway, he came up to me and he said 3 words that I will never forget. He grabbed my arm with a firm grip and said, I was there. And then he turned around and walked away. And that stayed with me forever because it validated the work that we do as artists. And it gave an incredible sense of purpose to my career as an actor and now as a theatre director and story maker.
And just one last question. What message or questions would you leave with the audience?
Well, Theatre One, my work as a theatre maker is always to approach everything with heart. If you approach whatever you do with heart and with imagination, they are the 2 most powerful forces in our bodies, in ourselves, and in our worlds, the world around us. And so if you can get a network around you who can tap into your heart and theirs and their imagination, then the sky's the limit. But an ask of anyone listening today would be to think back, and it may not take you very far, or it may take you way back to your childhood, to the stories, the songs, the artwork that have inspired and moved you over the years? What is it about engaging with the arts, and particularly the performing arts, that has resonance for you? And to ask that question of how the arts in society matters, because it does.
Stuart, I have always enjoyed my interviews, but today what you have said has moved me greatly. Thank you so much for sharing at such a personal level the work that you have done. Really appreciate it, and all the best going forward.
Thank you so much, Eva. Lovely to chat.